'cause I'm the weatherman. Oh, my thunderstrike, ride out the storm, I'm the weatherman. Oh, my breaking light, shake up the world, I'm the weatherman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Your Fast Forecast. We are here tonight in a Terrapin, of all places, in the middle of black space, thanks to its stealth technology, which is vastly underappreciated these days.
Oh, yes. Most definitely.
With the one and only CoconutJones. Mr. Jones, we're going to ask you a series of questions, which is why you're here tonight. And if you would, we'll give you a chance to answer as honestly and as verbosely as you'd like. We've looked forward to this interview for quite a while. I know our listeners and readers have too, so we'll just jump right in because we know for pirates time is money, and the space lanes, well, they aren't going to pirate themselves.
Very true. Very true.
So we'll start with your name and your organization name.
Gotcha. My name is CoconutJones. They call me CoconutJones. It's kind of the fun full tag that I gave myself for the nonsense of it all. And the organization that I am the leader of is the Black Coral Syndicate, which is a pirate org and smuggling org. We do all sorts of random, mischievous things that we probably shouldn't, but nothing will stop us. So.
And what would your position be in the Black Coral Syndicate?
Just overall in the org?
Yes.
Well, one of the co-founders and the current leader of the group. So, we give ourselves, fun tags. Just we're a rather small group. We're mainly a group of like good friends that played a multitude of other games together and met in real life because of these games, and we're a rather small brotherhood. We don't really care for titles too much, even though we have fun with it all.
A brotherhood of pirates. Interesting.
Yes, the Brotherhood of Thieves, for sure.
Well, how did the organization form?
Well, it kind of formed in a different game. We kind of formed in EVE Online first. This is where where our original pirate roots kind of took hold. We were part of a group called the New Eden Yacht Club, and it was interesting how it ended up happening. I ended up at the time, before I became the leader of that, ended up getting an offer from another member to buy me a ticket to Prague in real life, and I was crazy enough to accept this invite, and we made it fun. We had a very, very good time, and later on, the U.S. time zone kind of grew, and the core group of people that now is in this group, we all met up in Vegas one year, and basically we've been playing games together ever since. So we kind of got sick of EVE Online and went over to Star Citizen and have been enjoying it much more.
Interesting. Prague and Vegas. You're speaking of Old Terra for those of you who are not familiar with these locations. A lot of Stantonites aren't familiar with Old Terra, so
it's true.
Just to give a little geography lesson for our listeners. Since you're a pirate organization, you by nature kill a lot of people. It's just what you do.
Most definitely.
Do you have any rules for engagement?
Rules for engagement? Well, I'd say the main rule would be that, like, we want to be respectful of our customers, I suppose. And that might come across as slightly strange. We want to honor our deals more so. If say a member decides that he doesn't care for negotiations, then that's within his right to go about that business. If we offer a ransom, though, we will honor it. That's definitely like a big part of the policy, is like we don't want to go that far with it. Back in the EVE Online days, we would have ransomed you. We would have totally taken the money, killed you, salvaged the stuff, and everything out of it and just gone on with our merry day, just due to the way that game played out. Star Citizen's a little different. We want to take things a little bit differently. We want to actually play the politics in a manner that doesn't get us immediately hated upon sight, despite, despite still being pirates. I mean, there's people out there that are going to hate us regardless of how we go about our business, but teach their own.
Interesting.
The
You call them customers. We've never heard a pirate refer to the victims as customers. It's
they're definitely customers, whether they know it or not.
Well, if they're customers, what service are you providing?
That's an interesting question, actually. I would say the ability to be more aware of their surroundings, tactical awareness, maybe combat strategies, defensive strategies. A lot of the targets we find, rock miners mainly, very inattentive. I mean, they have a lot of tools at their disposal. Maybe not as many as they probably should, I'll admit. Especially with the way the game plays out. But there's a lot of easy pickings that we come across, and the only way to really figure out that you're doing something wrong is to kind of be caught in the middle of doing that thing wrong. Does that make sense? So for instance,
you would call yourself an educator.
To some extent, we profit unnecessarily off of the education. Like, they're definitely unwilling customers, but it's all about the PvP, right? Like, that's what piracy is right now. It may not be like that in the future, but our targets are pretty much exclusively going to be players, and the only reason that we are able to catch these players is if they allow themselves to be caught. There's plenty of clever miners out there that either put stealth fits properly together where you have a very hard time detecting the target in question, or just have like a set of tactics well put together where you're not going to find them, or you might even just get lost. We actually ran into a scenario like that somewhat recently, kind of before I moved, before I moved, where the only reason that we actually knew where the targets were was because of a spy that we managed to get into their group that night. So yeah, there's I would say most of the targets don't pay attention, and we can teach them how they could go about doing things differently. Well, especially if they watch the videos.
We see a lot of miners upset because of organizations like yours, but yet we've also seen the same miners fully charge their ping, and you can see those from orbit.
Oh yeah, that's what exactly. And they might not know that you can. Here's a fun story. Have you heard of a streamer called Tessa D?
No, we can't say we're familiar with him.
She is a miner. She does a lot of mining, and that's all she does, as far as I'm aware, mining and industrial endeavors with her group. And I was going out of Grimhex one day, and I was going to what I call my roll out of bed spot to find targets, which is mining area 157 on Yellow.
Yes.
Literally, just you warp out of Grimhex, and you can literally just go right there, pretty much. So I like to check that just for the easy pickings to see if anybody's there. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. So I'm flying away from 157. There's nobody there, and off in the distance, way out in the back end blackness of space, I see this big ping, and then another big ping off to the right. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, did I see that? And it happens again, right? So I fly in. I tell Val, one of the co-founders, and we fly over there, and it happened to be this streamer, Tessa D. We find when I got onto the location where the pings were, and this was like hundreds of kilometers away in the asteroid belts around Yellow. So I was able to see that from the planet and managed to find her. And we tried to do a ransom, and her backup showed up in the middle of it, so things got a little ugly. But shows it, to prove the point, to what you're saying, like, you can see those 100 kilometers hundreds of kilometers away if they're in space, maybe even like 100 kilometers on the planet's surface itself.
Well, we were doing a in global discussion on that, and were accused of helping pirates because we were telling a group of miners in a mole that the reason that the Chaos Squad kept finding them was the fact that they would fully charge their ping and release it, and that you could literally see that if you were passing the planet.
Oh yeah,
you could see it from orbit.
oh yeah, you can easily spot stuff like that. That is actually it's one of the ways we find people on, like I said, found her in the asteroid belt from the moon. This is how we also find targets on the planets when we're looking around. Sometimes we don't even detect them on our pings or radars or whatever. Like, we just visually see a ping off in the distance, and we're like, what was that? Well, we do look around, see what it is.
Well, are there any targets that you would consider off limits?
I mean, other allies, other maybe friends, or it kind of depends. Maybe give me an example here.
For instance, if you see a Cutlass Red running red and blues, zooming across the surface, would you consider that emergency vehicle off limits?
No. If we found a reason to, if we was able to actually do something to it and hold it in place and maybe get a ransom or somebody on board, no, we wouldn't hesitate to go for a target like that.
Interesting. Well, you mentioned that you honor your agreements if you request a fee, as it were, and the victim or customer, as you call them, pays up. You will honor that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well,
if
go ahead, please. We're sorry.
Yeah. If they actually go with the ransom or do what we tell them, sometimes it might not be like us saying like, "Yo, give us money, just sit still. Let's take maybe the medical supplies at the back of it for the Cutlass Red example." And we take the goods, and if we get the goods without a fight or them giving us hilarious amounts of sass or just fucking being outright assholes about it, we'll just take the stuff and move on.
Do you negotiate at all?
Yeah, we try to. There can be complications in the way that all plays out, just due to the way that the voice comms function, or all that kind of stuff. Basically, the game, the main thing that prevents us from actually communicating with the targets is just the way that the bugs kind of get in the way of stuff. Voice comms not working, people not knowing the buttons, sending a direct message, that having people have chat turned off, sending direct messages and having to hit tab like trillions of times so you can get to the right conversation, or get back to party chat to communicate with your group. It's just, there's all sorts of weird things that can get in the way with that, and we find it so much easier and time efficient to kind of just swoop in, disable the target, take the gems by force, and just be done with it.
We remember when flight school taught you basic communication systems. It seems like new pilots leaving flight school today don't know how radios work, which tends to be to their detriment.
Oh yeah, we this was a while ago, and we ran into some dude who we tried to do. We went out of our way to try and make communications with them, and nothing would happen. So we just went in with force. And immediately the complaining started, and they started crying about, why didn't you give us a ransom? And it was like, well, we did. We tried for like 10 minutes to try and get in contact with you, and you wouldn't respond. And it's like, oh, I had chat turned off. Well, that's not our problem. That's not our fault. We have no control over that.
Well, even the UE Navy tells you that if you get in trouble and you have your radio turned off, they cannot respond to your emergency. You can only help someone if their radio's on.
Yeah. No, pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
you can't cry for help if you can't actually communicate with people.
Well, as a pirate, part of the package is you usually have a crime stat of some manner. How do you handle always being wanted by bounty hunters?
How do I handle it?
Yes.
Mm,
You can't
I
show up
mean,
at respected ports because they will not grant you docking clearance. You're
true.
you're usually hunted by someone, and which means as soon as you enter covered space, as soon as a comm satellite picks up your
Yeah.
transceiver, you're going to be hunted.
Right. Well, like you said, we can only get supplies from certain points. The one main base that we can actually operate from with a crime status, Grimhex. So um, we we deal with it. The main way that we were able to get around these issues is we specifically try and focus on just fitting our ships for longer range, being able to do stuff at a distance and not have to worry about refueling or rearming and all that as often as, say, maybe bounty hunters with certain loadouts that are more efficient. We can cross the solar system, and if we need to, we'll just refuel at a mining port and kind of just do it on the areas that we usually hunt around where we're looking for rock miners, because you can still refuel at those locations and such. So it's mainly based around operating it with, like, I guess operational integrity would be a good way of describing it. We're trying to make sure that we can always get to where we need and get back if we have to, or at least get to an area where we know we can indeed refuel and get the supplies we're looking for and stuff like that. As to being hunted, I kind of look forward to it, to be honest. It's half the reason I read. I love it when they show up, and when I see something, it's like, oh, what is that? I don't know. Oh, it's a bounty hunter. Oh, great. It just, I don't know. It spices up the interaction for me. I know it drives some of my court members crazy, but they I don't know. We like the PvP elements of it. We like being hunted. We like having to test our skills against these bounty hunters. It can get tedious sometimes, but we definitely exist under the pressure for reasons.
Well, we've noticed again when you were on approach that not only is your ship equipped for long range, but it also is ridiculously stealth.
Yes, my baby, my little terrapin. Yes. The Yeah, that was a fun little process of experimenting with. I kind of looked at the terrapin initially for its scanning potential, right? It's like tanky, it's small, it can fit on other ships. I mean, if you need it to, you can. It's got a big fuel tank, right? But once I realized how stealthy that thing could get, I was like, oh, this is very intriguing. You can do all sorts of things with it. It doesn't have much firepower, like, right? It's only got the two size twos on the gimbal turret or whatever that is. But yeah, it has some interesting potential as a stealth ship. And I don't want to give away too much. I have some fun plans with my Terrapin, and we probably see something along those lines one of these days.
Of course, and Anvil is doing some incredible things. We've heard through the grapevine that they'll be rolling out a replacement for the shield generators and upgrading them to large as part of a warranty plan. So we're looking forward to that. Anvil's really been outdoing themselves here lately.
Yeah, they got some interesting ships for sure.
Every organization wants to grow, and we know that you said you're a brotherhood of pirates.
Definitely.
What are you looking for in a recruit?
I would say the biggest thing that we usually look for when it comes to new blood in our group is kind of like a good. We want good person. We want people who actually are interested in being with us, who are actually like fun, just chill to hang out with, no drama, no stress. They want to do things their own way, and they want to do stuff with the group. We don't. I know some pirate groups are more particular to having more experienced players join their org. We don't really care too much about that. Like, that can come in time. It can be a little frustrating if you're literally fresh off the boat, like literally have to learn from absolute scratch. There's a couple of those that we're willing to deal with as well. Usually we know them in real life, or just have known them for a while in other games and stuff like that. So really anybody, like, as long as the personalities mesh and we get along, like, we're down to teach and hang out with anyone who fits the mold.
Well, you've mentioned that you're willing to take new pilots. Do you offer training programs?
Yes, yeah, we go out, we try and go out with them as regularly as we can, and show them the tricks that we've learned, teach them some basic aspects of how to look for targets, customers, to keep with the theme. The and Yeah, we just try and break them into the basic, like how to use like all these missions and stuff in the game show you how to use these different mechanics, right? Like the comm array one where you have to where you have to scan down the leeching comm array beacon things, and stop them from siphoning the data or whatever. You scan these things down and they ping and you go blow them up and you're like, okay, well, cool. But you don't really think, oh, well, I can use the ping mechanic to find people, find players, know what the hell they're doing, what the hell they're going on. So like the game kind of like half teaches you these mechanics. They show you that they exist, but they don't show you the full potential of what you could do with them. And so we try and push that a little further. We're like, hey, like that nonsense you did in this mission, well, you can push that a little bit further. And if you go down to an HTMS station, you can find people mining down there, and then proceed to do the piracy that we do. Or if you find somebody in space 100 kilometers away, you're like, what the fuck is that? That's interesting. Like encourage you to go investigate what you're actually like finding, the feedback you're getting from the game, instead of just like letting the game feed you what it thinks that you should be looking for from missions or quests or whatever.
Okay. Well, when you do engage in your brand of education and you take your crew with you, what is the split that you engage in when you do receive a payment?
Generally 1-to-1. Everybody gets a cut of whatever we end up getting, unless they're just like, nah, it's too small, I don't care. We're definitely not the biggest pirate group, so generally like if we get a good heist, it turns out to be a decent amount for some of for the most people. But yeah, we go for a 1-to-1 split. Everybody gets a cut of the goods.
So you'd say it's an equal cut for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't take a special cut for leadership or anything like that. It's just everybody gets whatever sliver of the nonsense we're able to pull off. Sometimes it's like 10K and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. It's like there's 7 of us. It's like, all right, who cares? Who cares to do the math? Like $1.5 grand. It's like whatever. Just keep it. So sometimes we'll just throw it to whoever, and whoever needs it the most, we'll buy people ships or this, that, and the other thing to just help grease the wheels and all that type of stuff.
Well, if someone was interested in joining up and flying the black flag, how would they sign up with you?
Generally, it's just popping in our Discord or send me a message, PM. And Discord seems to be the main way that people get a hold of me. So, yeah, there's links in my YouTube channel. I have a link to the Discord on all my videos. People can pop in. It's usually have people pop in. And if you see me, you can look up CoconutJones on Spectrum and send me a message on that, or apply to the org itself.
Okay, and we will, of course, link your YouTube channel to this report when it goes live, and
Cool.
include a link to your Spectrum for your org as well.
Much appreciated.
Well, so what are the future goals of the organization?
Future goals, we definitely want to expand our numbers a bit. We want to get a little bit bigger to kind of flesh out what we were interested in accomplishing. Future goals, just let's see. I know, because right now the game isn't as far as long as maybe all of us would hope. Definitely, we're looking for, like, we want to do boarding stuff. We really like the idea of boarding. We haven't gotten to do enough of it to our liking, but when we get to do a boarding op on, say, like bigger ships, capitals especially, like that really gets us excited. So we really look forward to the day where we can start doing some really interesting stuff with trying to board capital ships and larger vessels to see what kind of piracy options that gives us.
Okay. Well,
Capital ship piracy definitely seems like a fun challenge, to say the least.
oh, we look forward to being able to cover that because that does sound incredibly interesting. Well, this is the part of the interview, and again, we're wrapping this up. This is part of the interview where you get to talk back to the viewers. Every organization, whether law-abiding or not, has supporters and detractors. If you could talk directly to your supporters, what would you say?
Directly to the supporters and the others. I don't know. I don't know what I would say. We're an interesting group. We're different. We like to have a good time, and we want to. We don't want to be the best pirate group or the biggest pirate group. We're very content with being the Jack Rackham, so to say, of piracy orgs, and we like talking. We like talking with people, even if they don't agree with our viewpoints. It's fun to get a discussion going and see what comes of it. And I don't know, we just want to play the game, explore and do things. And to those that want to come out and join us or just hang out, and you're more than welcome to. And well, if you don't like our shit, then that sucks.
Well, I guess that answers the detractor part. Well,
and for our follow,
go ahead.
What? Oh, it's just yeah. I'm not sure. The supporters know. They kind of already. The supporters tend to follow along on the YouTube channel and hang out and be nice and chill. So they're growing. We'll, we come interact with us. We'll chat with everybody. Yeah.
Any direct comments to your detractors? Those who say you're pirates, you're griefers, go get a life.
I would I mean, they may not like what we do, and they might not like the way that it plays out when we do it. But it's part of the game, and we're not going anywhere. And if you don't like it, then figure out a way to stop us. It's actually pretty easy once you put it together a solid strategy and actually commit some people to pulling their shit together and not just fluffing about mining and sitting there chatting or whatever the hell they're doing. So yeah.
So you would say watch your radar.
I would say watch your radar and try a little harder, guys, because there's definitely groups out there that have given us the fucking hustle for what we try and go for. And I gotta say, the ones that I'm gonna give a big shout out to the guys that lost and AgriJag. If they hear this, like, big props to them. I gotta give them another pat on the fucking back because they gave us a run for our money on the last stop that we got to hit them with. And like I said, I think at either before the interview or during the interview, we had to basically put a spy in their group to even figure out what the fuck was going on. And yeah, no, I look forward to more of that shit because it makes the game interesting. I want to be a pirate not because it's easy to pick on people, but because it's hard, because it's challenging, because I'm being hunted, because I have to do all these weird things to get by. Yeah, we don't want these to just be easy ganks. We want it to be more complicated, at least in our group. So yeah, I mean, show me them fangs, motherfuckers. Come on, where they at? I know they're out there.
Well, CoconutJones, we thank you for the interview. It has been enlightening. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to sign up with him, we'll provide links to not only his YouTube, but also to the organization itself. So head on over there and enlist in the pirate organization. From all of us here at Fast Forecast, we appreciate you tuning in and being with us. So please enjoy your night. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Yeah, 'cause I'm a weatherman. By thunder strike, right out the storm.